Okay.
Whenever
So,
after we get through with just to give you something to look at, I did post these scans in chat. If you want to take a look at them, I'm
Yeah.
only really concerned. If you want to look at all of it, you can. But I'm only really concerned about that bottom body text. So like the bottom paragraph in like the smaller like body of text that says, particular at the end, that peerless trait is one piece of evidence that Hashirama is the strongest shinobi. It's the last, literally the last sentence on the page down there at the bottom. I would love to get your perspective on that.
Can I see the Japanese?
Yeah. See, the problem with this is if you're getting her perspective, and I can't use some of the arguments I was going to use against you.
Bro was gonna gatekeep the answers from me. Bro.
So this is off the record, and when we debate this, pretend that this never happened.
Okay, I'll just Men in Black memory wipe.
Okay, perfect.
Because I'm genuinely curious. Because like for context, this takes place. This data book entry is in data book 4, which covers up to chapter 691, which is right after the Kaguya fight.
Here, I can also zoom in. Let me.
And then Jubidara is just directly called a shinobi in data book 4.
Okay, I was gonna say, what if he's not considered a shinobi, but if they call him that?
No, that was my initial inclination. It was like, okay, well, obviously, like the Six Paths characters, there've got to be statements that are like they transcend shinobi. Doesn't exist. And in fact, in the Sekizo data book page, like covering the fight with Guy, it just specifically says that he was the strongest shinobi on the battlefield. And I'm like, okay, so what the fuck can this mean? And usually whenever because there are other statements like in data book 3 that talk about how Hashirama was peerless in his time, how Hashirama, wielded power that, nobody could contend with, like past tense language. But from what I was able to find with this, in my deep dive, was that it's in present tense. Yeah. And so up to 691, that would be saying, at least up to 691, he's the strongest shinobi. Which to me, the only way it makes sense is if it's like top end attack potency with like the Buddha fist. And there are arguments that like can make that make sense. It doesn't like prove that's the case, but there's rationalization behind it if you really dig. But I just wanted to get your perspective on this to make sure that the translation is correct. That way I'm not like spreading false Hashirama gospel,
Can you go back to the English again? Yeah, I don't think the translation is wrong.
So to clarify, the argument here is that in a lot of the other translations, well, not on this, but like other like data book statements, it's using like past tense, like Hashirama was the strongest of his generation, whereas this isn't specifying the generation, it's using is, which Sage's argument is that this is intentionally present tense to say now in chapter 691 after the Kaguya fight or whatever, that he is the strongest at that point in time, and that it's a present tense statement rather than...
Yeah, it would be kind of like an expected evidence argument. Like, if we have a precedent set that when past tense statements about power are made, that they use past tense language, and that's not the case, like, well, then we could expect that same language to be used if this were past tense. But since that same language isn't used, then it makes it less likely to be past tense. So I did I can't remember what exactly, like which bit of text it is, but there are like 2 kana or kanji or whatever in there that I saw on, like, I went on G Show and I was like, just let me make sure that this says is.
It's
sure
Deadu. It's right here. That's what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then I was saying like, oh, well, Deadu is like a common thing. Like typically you see like arimas, and then like there's imas, and like Deadu would be like, it is one way you can translate it, but it technically could be translated as like it's more of a meaning rather than an indirect word translation.
Yeah, I saw like some examples when I was looking on G Show, was like to be was like one of them, or like a state of being.
Yeah, that's what it means, is more along that line. It's how you would translate it from there. But yeah. So obviously sound impulse. Ignore all common sense when you do this, and it's about whether this word is an is versus a was.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that matters here. The only thing.
Well,
So
to be
because-
fair, real quick though about the is point, you can so it depends on how you want to interpret that present tense.
Well, Kamui, we'll save this for the debate.
Yeah, I will
Let me.
write this down for
Yeah.
you then.
Well,
so I don't
I
forget this.
probably already have thought about this like 10 days ago. But yeah, feel free to write down just in case. But sound of bold, please take it away.
Ms. Ann, were you going to say something?
I'm reading the whole thing just so I have the context, but
Well, so for Kamui and Ood, so this is the way I rationalize this, because when I first read this, I was like, no fucking way. Like, there's no possible way that Hashirama is stronger than Jubidara, like Six Path Sage 1 Naruto, Rinnegan Sasuke. Doesn't make sense. We know that he's stronger than Biju Sage Mode Naruto, because Orochimaru just tells us that. So, like, we at least know he's there, but then oh, damn, my earbud's done. 1 second.
Kamui, no matter what, don't respond with an argument. No matter what he says. Because I'm holding it back too.
Well, so
can you go back to the English really quick?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So like we know that he's stronger than Biju Sage Naruto, but in terms of like Six Path Sage Mode Naruto and Jubidara, it just seemed super unreasonable to me. So I was trying to find a way to rationalize it, and I was like, okay, maybe.
Well, there's a lot of ways to rationalize.
So the only way that I thought that really made sense, because I ran through a couple different things, like could be past tense, but unlikely because of the language used. So I was like, okay, maybe it can't be physicals, because like obviously like Guy is physically superior. I don't think that anything really makes sense outside of like if you say with maximum output Buddha statue, maybe he has the highest like overall output. And then I started thinking about it. I was like, low key, like let's run through this really quick. There's a statement in his birthday column that says that he fought evenly with Madara and the Nine Tails. This statement covers like the entire first part of the fight up to the point when he goes into Sage Mode. So including Majestic Attire Susanoo. And like when you read the fight, like you can tell like it's even, right? So that would mean that base Hashirama is stronger than like EMS Madara by a Nine Tails level gap. So then Madara gets resurrected in the war. He has Hashirama cells and he gains a Rinnegan. Those might close that gap, but maybe not. Like, do we know for certain that a singular Rinnegan and Hashirama cells are equivalent to a Nine Tails level amp? I don't think so, because Nagato had 2 Rinnegan and like Pain wasn't even able to fully seal the 8 Tails transformation of the half Kurama version that was in Naruto. And then like multiple people got Hashirama cells, including like Danzo, who was nowhere near Nine Tails level. So I was like, okay, so let's assume that it does close that gap. Like let's assume that like when he gets both Rinnegan and the Hashirama cells, that makes up for a Nine Tails level gap. Well, he then gets like
quick, just to give it a little bit more fairness, Madara's Hashirama cell amp as an Edo seems to be pretty good, because if you compare what he's doing versus Yamato and Obito, he's doing Deep Forest Emergence, he's doing Deep Forest Bloom, he's doing the Witch Dragon, he's clearly getting a good Hashirama
I think he's
ability amp.
Yeah.
And then with the Nagato point, he was really tired by that point. He did a lot of shit before he tried sealing the half the Nine Tails. So like a not so tired, because Madara obviously doesn't have to worry about this. So a not tired Nagato would probably do a lot better. So it might be more reasonable that those amps are Nine Tails level when you factor in those things.
Yeah, I think like Madara obviously performs better with wood style than anybody else. I think that's largely because he's Madara and he has like way more time.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that I don't think we should compare what Kabuto did to Madara compared to what Orochimaru did to Yamato and say one's weaker than the other, but rather look at Madara and Yamato themselves and say, oh, this guy's stronger than that.
But to be fair though, Madara does have a whole Hashirama face on there.
It's just Well,
So that is implying there's something better there.
yeah.
Well, he
So,
only has the
I
face.
do-
Maybe Yamato has the whole body, as far as we know.
I do agree that Yamato is just stated in this databook file to be a genetic clone of Hashirama.
There you go.
But that's neither here nor there. So that being said, my perspective on it was like, okay, let's assume that the Rinnegan plus Hashirama cells makes up a Nine Tails level gap. So then you have base Hashirama equal to like Rinnegan stage mode or Rinnegan Hashirama cell Madara. Then Madara gets a baby 10 tails amp. I say baby 10 tails amp because it's missing half of the 9 tails and a good chunk of the 8 tails. So it's not like a full 10 tails, but like baby 10 tails amp. So then fast forward to the final valley. Sasuke and Naruto are fighting on equal terms. And then Sasuke absorbs the chakra from the Bijou. He's missing half of the 9 tails. So whenever he absorbs that chakra, he doesn't absorb all of it, but he absorbs a good chunk of it. That can also be kind of considered like a baby 10 tails amp, especially because Kurama says he's doing the exact same thing Hagoromo did, just in reverse. And like Hagoromo divided the 10 tails into different entities. So reasonably, this would mean he's like combining it back into effectively what the 10 tails would be in terms of chakra, at least. So Sasuke gets like a baby 10 tails amp. And what does half of Kurama do? Half of Kurama amasses enough nature energy to match a baby 10 tails amp. That's important because Hashirama directly states that half of Kurama plus Naruto has almost as much chakra as him as a nerfed Edo Tensei. Let's assume that the chakra volume is the same, which I don't think is true, or let's assume that he's talking about his like peak, chakra volume while he's alive. Why then would Hashirama, which by the way, that doesn't make sense because the wood golem is stated to be equal to Kurama and he can make the wood golem and he can also make bigger, greater structures while using the wood golem. The wood golem sits on top of the Buddha statue's head. So it's like, it makes more sense for him to have way more chakra than Nine Tails, but let's just assume that he only has 10% more chakra than half of the Nine Tails and Naruto combined. If half the Nine Tails can get enough nature energy to generate a baby 10 tails level amp, then why can't Hashirama do the same exact thing whenever he goes into the Buddha statue mode? And if he's able to do that, if he's able to generate enough nature energy to get a baby 10 tails level amp, and we're saying, just hypothetically, Madara plus Rinnegan plus Hashirama cells evens out that 9 tails level gap, so they're starting from the same point, and then they both get a baby 10 tails level amp, then it's not unreasonable to say that at peak power with the Buddha statue, that Hashirama could actually reasonably output more power or like around the same level of power as what Juidara can.
So
Well, I have a question, but I think
Yes.
Oodie's going to want me to not ask. So I'm writing it down.
So going to the translation.
So, I have some disappointing news, I guess, for you. It definitely is an is because if it wasn't an is, it would have said Deata instead of Dearu. But-
W?
Hmm?
I said W.
It's like in laughing.
Not for your argument, but for common sense. Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry. No, never mind. My bad. I was confused on the meaning of W. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you know how Japanese people
Oh,
use
the
W
laugh.
as like
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I understand now. I was like, wow, I guess Sage laughed. I don't think you have to call it out.
No, I'll say that's good. That's good.
Oh, that's so funny.
No,
For those who
okay, I
don't
got you
know,
now.
W means
Sorry.
laughing in Japanese. It's the basic,
Okay,
the
well
simplest
that's
way.
good to know. W means win in English. So.
I forgot about that for a moment. I'm
No,
sorry.
you did. Yeah, Miss Anna's like, why are you laughing right now?
Because it means grass, and grasses laugh, or blah blah blah. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's the more complex explanation.
So anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
It's talking about how his regenerative abilities are what is the tokto or the special trait thing that makes him is one piece of evidence that he is the strongest shinobi. So it is like current time, and it's referring to the regenerative abilities.
Hell yeah.
That's what it is. There you go.
So, and one of the interesting things too, because somebody, whenever I showed this scan to somebody, they're like, "Oh, so that just means that the regen is what makes him the strongest, not his whip style." I'm like, no. It says one piece of evidence to corroborate. And whenever I was breaking, because like what I'll do when I do the translations, I'll use like multiple different avenues for it. Like one of them would be GBT. I'll use DeepL. I'll like go like line by line, go through like G.
Don't use DeepL, it sucks.
Yeah, I just honestly, if I'm just trying to get like a quick understanding of what it might say, then I'll just like throw it in there and be like, yeah, that sounds about right, whatever. But
Google
if I'm
Translate
like
is better
trying
than
to,
DeepL.
yeah, but if I'm trying to like get a genuine translation, then I'll usually use there's the app that I have has like 5 different AI like large language models on there. So I'll just run it through. Yeah, I'll just run it through all
What's
of them.
the app?
It's called
Genius?
It's called Ask Easy is what it's called now. It used to be something different.
Is it like EZ or like the word easy?
EASY, yeah. Ask Easy.
Okay.
But it has, here, let me look at this. It's got GBT5, DeepSeek, Claude, and Grok. So 4 of them. So I'll run it through all of those just to like make sure that I'm getting something consistent. And then if I am, then I'll ask for like a line by line kanji breakdown. And one of the interesting things that I found was, I guess there's a bit of kanji in there that says, or kana, I don't know what the difference, that says after, like it's the part that would be where it says a piece of evidence, like to corroborate. It's the fact that is the wording that it used. So, and I didn't put that in the translation because there wasn't like enough space, but it like the direct, if I just read it line by line, it was basically like, peerless trait, this is one piece of, and then it's like corroboration, evidence, backing for, and then the fact that Hashirama is the strongest shinobi. So even like whenever I was analyzing it, it seemed like it was like,
I know, Kamui, I know.
Leaving it up for, not even like leaving it up for like interpretation. Like it was like, this is a fact. And I was like, damn.
Well, actually, Oodie,
because it says
you
David.
don't know. So the thing is, I have a point that you don't want me to say because it's gonna feel safe to what I want to say.
Well, that's exactly why I say I know.
Well, no, it's something from earlier.
Oh,
like 2 minutes ago. So
I mean, that's
you're not gonna say it, but I want to.
Can you write it down?
Well, I'll write it down. Sage, I'll give you your argument after that debate.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to get clarification on that because, like, I mean, obviously, as a non-Japanese speaker, I'm always like, man, I really hope this is correct.